Welcome to this House of the Dragon review and breakdown. This episode for me was the biggest so far, as it has the biggest in my opinion in regards to lore, as when my girlfriend and I watched the episode at the end, we stood up the minute the prince that was promised was mentioned once more. The opening was a return to the savagery of Game of Thrones with that badass kid from House Blackwood, as people petition for the hand of Rhaenyra. Blackwoods have a feud with the Brackens. Can you tell I read Fire and Blood and the World of Fire and Ice, or Ice and Fire, whatever it is, recently? This episode focuses on our boy Daemon seducing his niece, which is pretty grim, but, you know, the Targaryens love that, and, well, we've seen it in the franchise quite a lot, haven't we? Now, in the book Fire and Blood, we have Mushroom, the jester kind of figure who tells the story or the sordid parts of what happened, and he would say how Daemon would whisk Rhaenyra away to teach her how to please a man. I'm gutted we haven't got Mushroom in the show so far, because he's one of my favourite characters, and one of the funniest things was the Maester writing the book seemingly disgusted with Mushroom's accounts of what happened. But here, this is essentially what's going on here. He intends to make her want to marry him eventually. I found this bit in the book a bit weird, a bit kind of out of place, to be honest, as well. So it wasn't my favourite part of the season, this whole seducing part. But what happens is she gets off with her king's guardsman, who she's had a crush on since the tourney in episode 1. And this dude gives off major Dario, Naharis and Daenerys vibes, I think. I loved seeing the streets of Gin Alley and Flea Bottom, and she escapes the castle using secret passages. In the past, in the franchise, they were built by the King Maegor the Cruel. We've seen Tyrion Lannister escape to the Free Cities using these. They were mentioned before the Battle of Blackwater Bay as well. And the brothel parts felt very rushed, as in the book they spent many nights going there, and it was quite a long-ish chapter, I thought. But we have the show burning through history so very quick, which I would say is my one criticism maybe of the show, other than the fact I would like to see the other houses more and their reaction to the Targaryens, but it is what it is. It's cool seeing the play, and it reminded me of the actors in The Purple Wedding and the mummers in the Free Cities that Arya went to stay with. It's somewhat of a slow one this episode, but in the end, rumours are abound that Rhaenyra slept with her uncle, a fact that angered her father. It's reminiscent of Jaime and Cersei, as the king doesn't believe it, and Tywin also turned a blind eye to what was going on with his kids there. But Alicent has turned against her father, but she might find out the truth, leading to the schism between the two friends and the war between the Queensmen and Alicent's men. Yeah, anyway. Let's discuss why the reveal about the cat's paw dagger in this episode was absolutely earth-shattering. In this episode, we learn the origin, or almost origin, of the cat's paw dagger that was used in the assassination attempt on Bran. Bran would later receive this as a gift by Peter Baelish. Later, Bran would gift this dagger to Arya, and she would use it to kill the Night King. We finally learn that the dagger was owned by Aegon the Conqueror. We know, as of this show, that he had a dream. He knew what was coming with the White Walkers, and that's why he came to Westeros. We never know who had this dagger before Peter, who lost it to Robert, and it has an inscription mentioning the prince who was promised. You may remember that it was in a Citadel book, so it had a major significance before being lost to time. So Aegon's dream of what would be an invasion by the White Walkers is having a gigantic, huge significance here. And it is poetic that it was finally used to end the Night King by Arya Stark, making her the prince who was promised. Prince in Valyrian can mean male or female, so this inscription is a major moment. And the fact that the growing significance of This discussion in the show may give some insight into why the Stark back when Aegon conquered knelt, because maybe that's why there must also be a Stark in Winterfell, and there we know there must always be a Targaryen on the Iron Throne. Well, I expect we will get more of this backdoor loring into this show, and I'm all for it.